Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 200, and today we're going to be doing battle in the Gauntlet. And so it's a nice milestone area around here, right? We just hit 1,000 subscribers on the old YouTube. We're up here making our 200th Battles with Bust video. And so we wanted to thank everybody for, sticking around. If you've been around since we were playing Expedition, then holy shit, what are you doing with your time? I don't know, but we're glad you're here. And then if you're here for the newer times of Path of Champions and the Constructed, then welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. And so, as everyone knows, we do love to have a nice aggressive set of battles around here. And so I felt like for set of battles number 200, it's important to just bring the best card in the format. And so you're just like, oh, fuck, we're going to be playing Seraphine, aren't we? Wrong. And so your next thought was, well, if we're not playing Seraphine, we're probably going to be playing a little bit of Vayne, right? She's pretty good, right? Wrong. No, that was the dumbest set of questions I've ever heard anyone ever say. We're going to be bringing our friend Legion Rearguard, and we're bringing him to the max. And so, the three decks we're going to be playing today, we're going to be playing Annie Jhin, we're going to be playing Swain Misfortune Pirates, and we're going to play Darius Gnar. All three of these decks featuring what is easily the best card in the game, the old Legion Rearguard. And so I'm excited for this. You all may not be familiar with the various metas and the history of the game. Far and away, the worst period of the game was when they decided that Legion Rearguard should be a 3-1. I almost quit. Everyone else almost quit. The number of players in the game plummeted, and Riot basically did a little market research and said, oh man, we can't have this. We got to give the Legion Rearguard his point of health back. As soon as they did, the players all immediately returned. Everything was happy in the world. The Democrats and the Republicans got together and shook hands. It was just an amazing, amazing day. I don't know if you remember it or not, but man, it was a spectacular point in history, and I'm glad that we get to be a part of it and have the old 2 health rear guard be here back in action. And so, with these deck lists today, the Annie Jhin deck, it's not one that I am super familiar with. I don't feel like I've managed Annie Jhin with enough intricacies to say what should and should not be in the deck list, and so I just went and grabbed Ultraman's list. Ultraman's one of the best players out of the EU, probably safe to say one of the best players out of the world, and so we'll just take his recommendation on Annie Jhin. So it looks pretty straightforward to me. It looks like the things that I always hate in terms of playing against Annie Jhin are the stun package, and so it's got the full set of Sunhawks, the full set of Stage Hands, and one copy of the new card, the Witness. Outside of that, I'm pretty happy with what's happening. Lots of aggressive bros in here, and of course, free cheering our friend Legion Rearguard. Deck number 2, we're bringing Swain Misfortune Pirates again. We played this in our previous video. We're playing it here. The idea that I'm going to be bringing today is I'm just going to be banning out Seraphine. That should put us into more aggressive matchups and more Vayne-centric matchups. And so I have made a couple of edits since our previous video. I've moved ourselves up to 3 heavy metals just to give us full access to this equipment removal package. We're playing a bit heavier on the spells with the 2 copies of Ravenous Flock and the 3 copies of Heavy Metal, and so I've started to make cuts towards the Eye of Nagakaboros. I did come in and put in an additional copy of Shellshocker to help us support this early game aggression and get access to that additional mana, and so I don't feel like we're going to be spending as much time getting these value plays out of the Eye of Nagakaboros, and the games are going to be a little bit shorter than the ones to where we would want this full package of 3. But the addition of all the heavy metals is the big thing we're seeing out of our Bilgewater deck here. Last but not least, we have Darius Gnar. This isn't something we're seeing a lot of in the current meta. This tends to be kind of overwritten by the likes of Gangplank Sejuani style decks these days. But the more classic approach to this was Darius Gnar. If you're not familiar with this, we're playing the big collection of 1-drops in Omen Hawk, Rearguard, and Saboteur. We have this Overwhelm package at the 2s that we see all in all of these decks with the Raider and the Tusk Speaker, the Hookmaster because it's very aggressive and the equipment are too good, and then we close out the games with this combo of Ancient Yeti, Darius, and Gnar. Come in and close out with the big Overwhelm package. The things that may seem a little bit odd in here is we aren't playing Troll Chant. I'm just not the hugest fan of Troll Chant right now. If you're not getting the plus attack bonuses off of Troll Chant, then it feels a little bit weak. And I'm a little bit worried about taking our 3 attack package, our Legion Rearguards, our Raiders, our Tusk Speakers, our Hookmasters with a +2 attack, up into Vayne, right? I really want to be able to take down that Vayne, and Inner Beast is the only the only Freylordian combat trick that lets us do that. I'm not really interested in the Noxus combat tricks as well, because while they let you win a combat, they don't help you not lose it. And so I think the +1/+1 from the Inner Beast is the best that we're going to be getting. And then we're playing the full 3 copies of Three Sisters. This has a couple of combos tied into it. It's going to let us flash freeze any opposing Vayne units, and then it also just has the utility out of the combat tricks and out of the Entomb. And so the only spell that you may see out of these decks that we're not playing here today would be Decisive Maneuver, right? That's one that could kind of fit in with those themes as to where the stunning a unit out of combat's great, giving like 4 and 5 overwhelm units +2 attack is great, but with the kind of state of the Vayne decks these days, I'm just not as excited about playing a stun, right? So your opponent attacks with their sweet unit, you stun it, you say, oh, hell yeah, combat is done for the day, and then they just say LOL tumble it into combat, or LOL cataclysm it into combat. And so I'm not really excited about using a stun-based combat trick, even though it is quite powerful in these decks. If it's just coming in for the killing blow, gives you that great bit of width, and it takes that blocker out from underneath the overwhelm. It's just on the flip side, right? It's not good on the defense, and I like that utility that we get out of Three Sisters. And so that's who we're going to be doing battle with today. One last thing before we start. You know we have to come in and pay the pay-to-win price, and we did not have a good gauntlet in our previous video. We didn't make it the whole way through. We failed out fairly quickly, and that's not something that we do around here. And so I'm worried that we just paid the pay-to-win price wrong. And so we're going to do it a little bit differently today. We're going to hit up the store. We're going to go down to the emotes button, and we're going to pick up the emote today. The very Noxan emote here in Cheers Vladimir. We got to get this in before he gets rotated out. And I feel pretty good in our decision here. So it's not something that we're only using in one deck, right? It's one that we get to use in all 3. And so I feel like this may be what helps push us over the victories. And so where is it at? I got to come in here and find where it lives. Here we go. It's kind of in the middle. That one's going to be tough to find. But let's get it added into the decks. Got to stop and think about it quite a bit. It's I was really expecting it just to be at the top of the list because it was the one that we just got most recently, but it's not the way it works. It's not alphabetical. I don't know. I don't know who came up with this ordering, but if we're going to come in and complain about something, why not that, right? Everyone has to complain about something. That feels like a valid place to start complaining. Intern, take some notes, send it up the flagpole, let them know. Bust's got something new to complain about. All right, on to battle. And so the general strategy we're going to be taking is to just come in and ban Seraphine. There's no Seraphines or Vaynes here, so we don't have to go that route. I'm going to look to take the Darkness deck out. I feel like we should be fast enough to just beat whatever this Dragon's Aurelion Soul style deck is. Maybe that's actually the one we want to get. I saw Aurelion Soul and just assumed this was going to be super slow, but if it's the Dragon's package, the units are a little meaty, and they can probably give us some problems. And so it's a little worrisome taking our aggro package into double Shadow Isles, but you typically see if they start just playing that package of like a 3/4 into a 3/4 into a 4/4 into a 5/5, and we're just trying to throw a bunch of 3/3s on the board, we just don't play into that particularly well. And I think we might have a little bit of a better shot up against these Shadow Isles decks. Okay, so reasonable start. I'm going to go ahead and hang on to all of this. You can typically make an argument for getting rid of Make It Rain, but I think we might get a little bit of utility out of it against Darkness here, depending on how their start goes, right? If they're going to come at us hard and heavy with the Vile Feasts and we need a way to come in and kind of clean that up, then I think the Make It Rain might be useful. All right. Hapless Aristocrat, not the bro we're looking to see. Not quite it. Alright, we got the answers to the Catalyzer. A little scary seeing that plucky Poro come down. He's not the biggest fighter in the world. Ooh, when we blanked him? Sweet. Alright, on to the misfortune attacks. We'll trade her out here. We're just going to start coming in and attacking with everyone. We need to get the damage in as often as possible. And so, trading out misfortune is just what it's got to be. At least the perk to this is our love tap shuts down the spiderling that would be killing our Legion rearguard. Right. Got him for 2 damage. Look out. Look out, opponent. I'm coming at you for 2 damage. All these heavy metals line up so well against this deck. Feels brilliant bringing the heavy metals up against darkness. We might get a little usage out of him next turn. It can take down some of these units he's starting to add now. Interesting. It's like, I'm just curious if we can't... That's tough, right? We're planning on playing Misfortune next turn, but... like, I start to worry that if Misfortune falls and then he's able to have a good blocker from that point forward, that it's going to be a little painful. And so we'll let that happen. The next thing I'm kind of curious about is if we're going to be able to heavy metal this Sentinel before it gets a spell kill, right? If he plays the Darkness, it's most certainly going to flip. And so, like, if he has a Pokey Stick here, this doesn't quite work. If he has a Vile Feast, it doesn't quite work. But even if it doesn't, we should hopefully be able to follow up with this Misfortune and take this thing down while it only has 1 health. Still at 18. So many health. Alright, that was positive.
Fortune favors the bold. Time for violence.
I just realized we forgot to emote. We forgot to utilize our Vladimir Cheers emote. Is it too late at this point? Do we just look like an asshole if we start dropping the Cheers emote right now? I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems kind of assholey. just gotta get him out of nowhere with it. All right, let's go ahead and Nox and Fervor the face. We can heavy metal the Solari Sentinel, and then maybe the Leviathan will come in for some damage next turn. We would of course love to have our Leviathan hit for damage, but even if we say play him next turn and opponent hits it with a Vengeance, that's a fairly decent turn for us, right? That's a pretty heavy mana investment from Master Chief 99, and it doesn't give him the mana to make any further plays. So we did just pick up Swain. I'm not super interested in getting Swain down as much as the Leviathan, because we can make multiple plays in the same turn with Swain, right? So if we go into this next turn and we pick up, a 2-drop, right? We can play both the 2-drop and the Swain, to where if we come into this turn now and only have access to, if we only have access to the Leviathan, it won't come in. So it's a little scary with the Darkness. I wonder if he just, like, doesn't play it here, right? If he just doesn't take the AoE, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go ahead and add the Swain to the board. But it's definitely a spot where you have to kind of stop and think and take pause, in that we could potentially just get him here. But I don't have the stonage it takes to to make that kind of play. We'll let our Swain go ahead and get damaged. So what I'm looking at on this following turn now is we can open up with the Make It Rain, hopefully get the stun onto Des and Ada. If we don't get the stun, it's not the end of the world. But I'm kind of looking at this here and say, okay, if we play the Make It Rain now and get the stun, and then opponent does something slow speed, right? They do something fast speed, then they'll still have the stunned unit, right? And then if he comes in with just a Vengeance onto Swain, it's still okay. Right, we have the second Swain in hand. Interesting. So he's going to pick up the Descent Ada. What happens if he just replays it?
Let's roll. No arguments here.
Right, we have to worry about the AoE darkness coming at us. Not my happiest moment, because we can't really add anything to the board. Oh, that's gross. We just got boomed by that lightning rush. All right. Well, let's come in for this 2 damage. That's all we can do. All right, hopefully we can get wide enough now and just win with an open attack next turn. Well, they're mean. I don't like what you're about. Okay. Interesting. He seemed kind of interested in attacking into our very small unit. I'm curious what the makeup of their hand looks like to where that feels good. Right? That doesn't seem like a play that's going to feel good very often.
My turn.
Alright, I'll go for the takedown. I mean, do we ever just take this, right? The idea with this is if we get to attack around it, we're going to be okay. Like, why is he ever just attacking with this? He has to have some kind of combat trick, right? Otherwise, he would just be defensive with it. Let's just leave the unit up to ensure that we still have a dude on the board. This is tough. We picked the Rake. The downside to the Rake is opponents at 3, right? And the Rake isn't going to be providing a kill. But we get the chance to see what he does here. The Scout attack may actually come through. If he kills the unit on our turn now and we can load it up on Swain, that wouldn't be the end of the world. Interesting. You really just have stone nothing here.
Born a patrician, I became a soldier.
Oh, are you kidding me? That's what the angle was? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I guess that's one way to get the scout onto Swain. Alright, we need some serious work out of you now, bro. you gotta do something big. Oh my gosh, that's tough. I think we have to bring this in. Jagged Butcher is not the answer we were really looking for, but it feels pretty terrible to be like just having our only follow-up play be the Fortune Croaker. Vengeance, not surprised. This is tough. We can still win. We got this one Nox and Fervor left in our deck. Zap Spray Fin ready to load up the scout equipment. Alright, deck. Counting on you. Misfortune. That's she's kind of close. It's kind of close. Get that 1 damage into face. Alright, that's gonna finish it. GG. That's tough when you go into, say, where were we at, like turn 5 and we hadn't done any damage yet. Not the Not the greatest place to be. But we know what's up now. We're going to be up against this Kindred Slayers style deck. We know the strategy. We got to emote right from the start. No more waiting to the mid game and deciding what's going to happen there. We gotta do it right from the start. I'm ready. Got my arm activated. Here we are. Come on, screen. Let me emote. Did it. God, I'm good. That was the key play of the day. I don't know if you caught that or not, but all right, let's start the aggro thing. I would assume with like Kindred Callista, they're playing a bunch of the sacrifice effects, a lot of ways to kill off your own units and get those things like that going. Here, the scout's powerful, but I just worry opponent's going to play a unit that's a little bit too big here. I want to just chunk in, like it. It feels kind of bad if he just plays a 3/3 or a 2/3 or something that would be capable of taking down both of our units. All right, opponent's getting an equipment. I'm still attacking here. We got to get this damage punched in. I don't know if we'll get real big usage out of this heavy metal, but we got it. We're ready to battle against the equipment. Mistwraith. Interesting. I think... How do we feel about this one? I'm gonna go with the Codger first. There's definitely a world where he puts the combat reel onto the Mistwraith, and then we just get such a big tempo swing out of a heavy metal. If he just leaves the 2/2 on the board, I don't care. Or if he like attacks, then we don't have to care anymore. But just we have such a great opportunity to get this 4 mana shutdown with the 2 mana heavy metal. Beautiful. All right. Now we get to bring in the big boys.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
Vastayan Disciple, draw all the cards. Are we interested in combat reel? It's like a couple of things here in terms of like what I envision is going to happen next turn is we're just going to play Swain and then open attack. But if we want to say play it a little bit slower and then potentially get the overwhelm onto Swain, it gives us that opportunity to get that 3 damage face hit in before he flips and then picks it up naturally. I'm just going to go with the combat reel. I can kind of envision us spending a lot of extra mana here, especially since we have this Vastayan Disciple in hand. We should have opportunities to just spend a bunch of mana. Surprised he didn't drop, like, I'm not entirely certain what he's just passing here for. Like, I thought if you had a Kindred, you would probably play it. I kind of felt like if he was going to just put down that Mistwraith card, whatever that's called, right? The thing that puts the 4 mana burst of Mistwraith onto the board. Interesting. No Quietus. All right, let's do some of that burst speed attacking. Comes the more risen mists. It's kind of interesting. we should have probably attacked with the Vestayan Disciple way out to the right. I just did this kind of standard little to big attack here, but if we're going to kind of start to think about this, and then Kindred's going to kill off a unit and do the slay marker thing, and then if the slay marker thing goes onto the Disciple, and then that recalls back to our hand, that's going to be a little bit more challenging to flip that Kindred. It would have been easy enough to just, put him on the right. We didn't do it. But interesting. Looks like he's going to thread the needle and take care of that for us preemptively, but interesting angle there. All right, now let's get some 3 power blockers on the board. Misfortune, you're here. I'm going to put, we want to put 1 over here onto the Mirai Warden as well. Probably just go with the combat reel. If the Warden doesn't get involved in combat, then I want this Sandsworn Amulet to be over on a better unit. F. I was really hoping for a way for us to just kind of naturally deal with this Kindred. It's not turning itself up. Alright, well, let's make the big mana play in the Leviathan. It's too bad we don't have that 1 extra mana to use the Ravenous Flocked Swain onto Kindred. But I think we're safe here, right? Even with Kindred killing stuff, as long as we start next turn with both Swain and the Leviathan, I think we should be in a pretty safe spot. It's pretty easy to flip our Swain from that point. He's not going to get the stun things happening, but these 2 giant overwhelm units coming in should be problematic. So what's the card to worry about here, right? If he has a +2/+2, or he could have a +2/+2, or if he has a Black Spear, I think I'm okay with all of that. This is probably the safe way to do it, right? So we're going to win these 2 combats on the left. The Kindred mark should go onto the Butcher. I think that's all fine. And maybe we'll get this Make It Rain next turn. Mist's Call. Okay. This guy's all about the Mist's Call. Alright, so I'm just going to start with the Make It Rain. We have the ways to just kind of get another Swain on the board if he starts getting clever here. We're just in this spot to where if he's going to start playing, removal spells and spending mana, then we're going to be in a tip-top spot. Got him. Oof. Good job, rear guards.
History will remember us.
All right. Darius Gnar up against the Mistwraiths. Not quite what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot more of shenanigan type things, like that, what are you, the Last Breath dude that just comes back over and over and over again. He's the typical big problem unit, but I think we're at least reasonably well handled to be able to just come out and block a bunch of Mistwraiths. As long as we aren't just getting domed by Kindred, I think this is okay. So what do we got? Let's hang on to the Yeti and the Saboteur. Look for a 2-drop. See if we can't get a nice curve assembled. Gonna lead in with the Omen Hawk here. It's not as aggressive, but Maybe we do just go full aggro. Like, what's he gonna do on this turn? He's just gonna add a... like, nothing now. He'll probably play Mistwraith next turn if he has to trade Mistwraith with the Tusk Speaker. I think this is okay. Whenever I'm playing these Tusk Speakers, I really have it kind of stuck in my head that we're playing Sejuani. And then the Sejuani wants you to, do your best effort to play the Tusk Speaker on your opponent's attack token so you can get those bonus turn damages in. But not quite the case here. Ooh, that's a delightful curve that we've assembled, though. Very delightful. What we got? We'll take... I think we can take the quick attack. It's like my reason for pause is I always expect like 1 damage burn spells to be coming out of these decks. And then if we look to pick up the tough, it gives our Hookmaster a little bit of a safety net. But I suspect that he's not going to have that all the time. Now, the real question we have to ask is, does he have a... that thing that puts the 3 blockers on the board, right? And if he does, how bad is it? It's not horrible, but I worry about that one quite a bit here. If we make this attack, then we're guaranteed to get the flipped Gnar on the board, and then we can just play Yetis on the next turn. I think it's a little bit too dangerous to not open. Now, if he has these things that let him like burst Mistwraiths onto the board, I think that's probably good for us as well. It's just a pretty heavy mana investment and not a ton of return. You would have gotten 2 blockers out of that. We know this dude loves a Mist's Call, right? Just give him the opportunity for Mist's Calls there. Alright, Mega Gnar down. Seems okay. I'm going to lead in with the Tusk Speaker here. I think we're just in the spot to where we don't want to trade anything. We want to be getting everything in on our attack next turn. Threads the needle. Okay. He's 100% got a missed call, right? 200%? 300%. Nailed it. Okay. So, I mean, this seems pretty decent. We've got all the overwhelm attackers to try and punch through this stuff. Let's just go for it here. I worry if we open attack and he has like a vengeance or something to stop 1 unit, we're just going to be too far behind. But if we get loaded up on our overwhelms, we should be able to just punch through this stuff and shut down their combos. But right, if we attack with everybody and he has a vengeance for Gnar and he gets to block the single overwhelm unit with the 4/3, like we're lined up to be 1 point short of getting a lethal. To whereas I think we can add plenty of problematic cards here. The other kind of nice thing is I'm not the hugest fan of him getting a good block with Callista onto the Omen Hawk and having her survive. If he gets to go into the next turn and attack with Callista and bring back Wraith Callers, that's going to be problematic. But he's only got 2 mana now. I think we're set.
They'll never see it coming. Here, fishy, fishy.
Pushing all that health in front of our overwhelms. Doesn't look like enough. I think we got him. GG to the Master Chief. Alright, nice. Not getting goose egg today. To say no no 0-win battles for the rear guard awakening. Nice. All right, next battle. This is probably the best lineup I've ever assembled. I don't know, man. It seems like we did a pretty good job here. All right, up against the goddamn Batman. What are we going to do here? Just banning out the Vayne is what I'm pretty on board with doing. The Sejuani Ashe deck, I'm hoping that we can actually take advantage of that one, right? You typically see the Ashe LeBlanc style decks here to pick on the Vayne decks, and we are pretty, go wide style decks. It's still going to have its advantages against, say, like Darius Gnar, but I think we can, ban out the Vayne and probably pick on this Ashe deck. And then we're going to be kind of coin flippy against the Mist Wraiths over here. All right, up against Ashe. I think this is following how we want. Like, we don't have a lot of good blockers here for the Mist Wraith deck. We have good blockers with the Sejuani deck, or with the Darius Gnar deck, but not so much with this one. All right, and oh shit, we forgot. There we go. Cheers. So, the thing I like to always say with these decks is if you don't know what unit to play on the first turn or on the second turn, whenever, just pick the one that does the most damage, right? And so, if you're up here against the Ashe Sejuani deck, you don't know what to do. It is fairly easy and intuitive to be like, okay, Legion Rearguard deals more damage than the Krusty Codger. Let's play him first. The Mirai Warden should deal more damage than the Fortune Croaker. Let's play it second, right? We have a lot of, kind of... It's a little bit easier if you're able to distill it down like that. But here, we're gonna just accept the damage from the Hookmaster. He's not the aggro here. I'm not particularly worried about opponent being able to... outrace us, and so if he wants to get his can't block unit on the board, I think we can just accept the damage and punch through with our bigger plays. And here, another round where I didn't go for the scout. I'm not amped about playing the scout angle against the deck playing a bunch of frostbites, and so we'll just pick up the big set of stats. It'll be a little bit better on defense, and I just don't suspect we're going to get these good scout plays early, and we're going to be at a little bit of risk of that unit not being able to get into combat. Feels like absurd when I say this stuff, right? We should probably just take the scout every single time, but this hasn't felt right in these matches.
It was right on my tail.
Okay. Take the 7, add in the Misfortune. Now we got a pretty good open attack for the next turn. Assuming he, say, like, blocks Misfortune and kills a Hookmaster. What are we getting in for? 10 exactly? Perfect. Planned it that way. Alright, squad, do your thing.
I'll do better this time.
Double Frostbite. Boo. Rearguard's still doing the work, though. Taking down the Babbling Bjerg. I like it. Alright, so we got him down to 3. I'm going to go ahead and add the Fortune Croaker to the board. See if we can't pick up a Noxan Fervor to end the game. We did not, but that's okay. We still have this heavy metal in hand. I don't like really intend on heavy metaling this Hookmaster. This is, just a really safe block for us. We'll save the heavy metal just in case he plays something a little scarier on this next turn. Ooh, Nox and Fervor. We just needed to dig a little deeper.
You own what you take.
Got him. GG. Okay. Darius Gnar off to the races. And so yeah, I was hoping that we didn't run the Scouts deck directly into the Hallowed deck, right? It's just if you look at the collection of units, we don't have a lot of 3-power blockers, and you just get into a kind of a pure race with the Pirates deck against this thing. I think it's still a decent matchup, but we at least have some like opportunities here with the Tusk Speaker to either block or punch in that extra damage when he gets a little bit of overwhelm, as to where you don't quite get that out of the Pirates deck. All right, rear guard in. Cheers. So this is one of these spaces as to where, you have to kind of start asking yourselves a few questions. If you say, okay, Bust, I'll just pick the one that does the most damage, but both of these deal 3. Here, I'm a little bit happier with the rear guard against Shadow Isles decks, since they're going to have the opportunity to play things like Quietus. I don't think this is a deck that's going to be playing Quietus, but it is kind of a bummer to add the Saboteur to the board and then have opponent Quietus that down, and we get our attacks completely shut down. Very surprised he conceded there. My intent with that turn was to not block Elise, but to block the Spiderling, and then on the following turn just add a bunch of dudes and still get to attack with everyone. But the goddamn Batman wants nothing to do with that Tusk Speaker. It must have been those emotes that got him. Okay, so what do we have going on here? I've got some kind of Gwen Fizz deck. We've got Lee Sin Nami, and then we have another Fearsome's Number. And so, I don't mean too much disrespect here to Rogue Samus, but my experience in Gauntlet is that people play Nami terribly. And I feel like we can probably pretty safely just leave this Nami deck up and be fairly okay against it, especially since our lineup is just fucking fantastic against Nami. And so I'm going to leave that one up. I don't know what this Shadow Isles Gwen Fizz deck is going to be trying to do, but Gwen is the deck that scares me the most out of those. And so I don't want to be playing against some dumb Shadow Isles deck playing a bunch of Drains and a bunch of Gwens. It doesn't seem like that's what they would be doing with Fizz, but, I'm not real interested in playing against the Drains. And so lead off with Annie Jhin here. I think this is our strongest deck of the two. I worry about Annie Jhin a little bit if it has to play against the Hallowed deck, but we'll see what opponent chooses here. I think we can still 2-0 Nami. All right, none of these are 1-drops. We're just going to take a full mulligan here. You don't really want, a lot of times we'll hang on to a 2 just to be safe. What's your name? Imperial Demolitionist isn't really a 2-drop, and so I'm okay to let that one go.
Explosives primed.
All right, let's get that damage on board. Not the most compelling of Sunhawks, but if opponent just like stone blanks on this turn, then we're getting in the extra damage. We already have Jhin in hand, so we're going to get the traps going a little bit. And then there's not a ton of amazing plays for them here. The Eye of the Dragon is more on the amazing side of things, but I felt like that was going to be a pretty powerful turn with a lot of opportunities for them to just blank, right? Or if he plays Double Trouble here, I feel like that's kind of a win for us. All right, it was slightly awkward with the double Doom Beast Decimate hand here. We drew a lot of top end, but the Boom Crew rookies here to at least save our curve. Then we can look to come into the the next round and get Jhin on the board. Interesting. This is a combat trick too frequently. I think we need to just be punching the damage. And it's like if we attack and he blocks with the Hookmaster and then plays the combat trick, we still get in for damage with some of these other units.
Suffering is the beating heart of drama.
Now we just got to attack with everybody. This is bad though. Like this does not feel like it's going well, and this is the matchup we need to really be beating up on.
Sometimes you're the bait.
But comes a big collection of abilities, and we do have a ton of burn in hand, right? We've got 9 damage of burn.
Hook, line, and sucker.
There's the combat trick. Sure. Okay. Interesting. And he gives up his Eye of the Dragon. That feels like a win. I was a little worried about these... Oh, it got stunned. Oops. I was going to say, I was a little worried about these little dragonlings coming in, but makes sense now.
I fight with my spirit, not
Uh-oh.
my fist.
That's not good.
Come on, where's the competition?
He's going to get to gain so much health here.
A warrior needs a drumbeat.
Force is meaningless without skill.
A pleasure to see you, Master.
All right, friends. Well, what are we working with here? We got to get the rest of this damage in. So let's get the Boom Crew Rookie down. This is our opportunity to strike since he didn't put any Dragonlings in. So we gotta hit for whatever we can.
Like the fuse? Strong as waves!
All right, friends, do your thing.
I hear it now. The thunderous applause.
So I don't expect, this combat to go well. It's just what we're kind of hoping is to get him down to 4, and then we get a chance to play Decimate next turn before he kills us, right? And so it's, not looking promising. He's got too many blockers. I assume he's going to have a spell in hand and be able to Shelly up his board. But, that's what we're going for. We need to get just a little bit of damage in. Maybe he'll make a boo-boo, and then we get to play the Decimate.
Fish meat face.
Blocks everything. Okay.
You lack imagination.
All right. Brutal. GG. That's one we really needed to win. I don't think we're that great up against the Hallowed deck, and we should be quite strong against that Nami. That was a pretty powerful opener against us, though. All right. Let's see if we can't turn it around, though. Did we emote at the beginning of that game? I think that's what the problem was. Gotta make sure we bring it back in for this one. There he is. Get him, Vlad. All right, Right, a considerably less awkward opener now. Now that we have the dude and we aren't just burning a Sunhawk. The Quietus comes in though. Sad day. Again, I don't really expect Quietus out of these aggro decks. I assume it's the aggro deck, right? He's playing Elise Nocturne.
Come closer. I don't fight.
Same deal here, though. I assume opponent's not going to just auto-concede to our Tusk Speaker, but I plan on taking the damage from Elise. We'll block the little spider, and then we should get to attack back with the Tusk Speakers. Perhaps get a little bit of extra damage in.
A warrior needs a drum beat. Forgetting is death to an immortal. Where's my axe?
In the Vile Feast? Gross. Okay.
A tribute to the spider god.
Bring the spirits!
Annie Jin's getting worked over today. This is painful. Curious how much late game he's packing though. This has just been like it makes sense for these decks to play things like Vile Feast and get the 2-for-1s there, but it's I'm curious if this is just like way more control decky than it looks. It's like I was fully expecting them to just have this big Mist Wraiths package, which doesn't seem to really exist in their deck, but it's been weird.
It won't get past me.
Okay. Kind of want to save the Witness for next turn. This is, I think if we get to like trading the rear guard for the Mist Wraith isn't ideal, but getting a bigger stun out of the Witness might be a little bit more important here. This is tough. We'll see. Like, we just can't play anything this turn. We'll go into next turn and see if we can't pull off a stagehand play, but this is rough. No, he's just going to be wider than us.
I pull the strings.
Not looking good. We need to draw that augmented experimenter to really be popping off. That's like our only real draw here. Oh my god, this is painful. This is painful. Losing to the Nami deck was just brutal. Alright, though. GG's. Alright, let's see if we can't recover Team Rearguard. I believe in you. This should not be your downfall, should not be your end. Did you all watch the Chiefs game? That's what we're getting excited for here. It's a big day in the world of football. The arguable best fantasy football player just got traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Today, it's in the past for you, but today for me, the Chiefs will be playing the 49ers. Curious to see if he makes an appearance and comes out and does a little bit of battle or not. At any rate, back to this. We got all the champions coming at us from opponent. I'm just gonna, I think, just ban out the Ornn deck. I'm not really worried about any of these, but this seems like it's probably, maybe we ban out the dragons. It's probably the opportunity just to have the most mid-rangey number that will give our Annie Jhin deck some problems, right? I just don't want to play against the deck that's going to be like, okay, here's a loyal Badger Bear Dragon thing, and then a Shyvana, and then a 5/5. Like, we can't attack into any of that stuff. And so it's not a control deck per se, but it's a style of deck that's going to give us some problems. All right, we'll keep this very interactive hand here. Start off. I was going to start off with the Saboteur. I just like worry about this guy putting a good blocker down on turn 1. Looks like we got away with it. Maybe you just can't worry about it. And they don't quite know what to expect out of the Zed Yasuo Swain Karma. I just assume opponent's probably new to the game and doesn't have a full collection, but at any rate, I didn't want to just get blasted by a blocker on the first turn. And so it's the rear guard's just a little bit more resilient, right? If the opponent plays random 1/1, the rear guard can still attack into it. So here, we're just going to make a big tempo play, right? I'm going to add the rear guard. I'm going to go ahead and stun whatever he plays here. Ideally, he plays a 3-drop, right? And then we just get to attack with everybody. His Ribbon Dancer has to block the stagehand, and then we get to chunk in for 8 damage.
You're looking at Ionia's championship 10 times running.
I think we want to try and keep the equipment on the board. So we'll stun the Hookmaster out of combat, not give him the option to send the equipment onto a different unit.
In range. They'll never see you. You're all tied up.
All right, nice little boom of damage. Take him down to 8. Take him down to 6. My mathematics were on point. we should have enough burn at this point, right? We have 3 burn in hand, 3 burn on board, in addition to the natural unit damage we'll be doing. I think we're in a fairly safe space here. Just take damage from whatever these guys are doing. No need to block any of this stuff. Right? What would be a disaster for us is, say we block... Just imagine that the Hookmaster was not a quick attacker, right? And say we block with the Crackshot Corsair, assuming we're going to get a trade, and then opponent has a way to survive it in combat. Now we're down a unit, and so that unit's not going to get through in combat, and then he gets to block a different unit. So like this bad block onto the Hookmaster would now essentially let him block 2 units on our upcoming attack. But now we're fine. We have 3 burn going to face. If he has a heal of some sort, and that was enough, we have the Nox and Fervor to get out of the heal combat. If he's got a heal and a deny, then congratulations, I guess. But I think we're good to go here. Neg 7 into 3. Good job, Annie Jhin. Oh my god, you know what we did? It's more like, oh my god, do you know what we didn't do? Forgot to emote. I've never been a game start emoter. You know, it's not really my style. So I'm not surprised we've been forgetting it. But I've got to focus. Got to focus. We're ready now. Gonna get it in here. All right. I've got my wrist ready, my arm ready. My hand is warm. Emote. Got it. All right, so here, I'm just going to go for the damage. I don't think we need to go for the more value-oriented play in the Omen Hawk. Our units are just going to be big enough for combat here. So now, if you want to do the determination of what does the most damage, the 6 damage from the rearguard Saboteur is more than probably 3 damage from the Hookmaster. So we'll play the double 1s. We're still set up nicely. Oh my god, The fuck, a Death Lotus? Ugh. Say, we're still set up nicely for the next turn with the Omen Hawk Hookmaster, but that was not very nice. I was not expecting Death Lotuses today.
Yes, a weapon to cut through the shadows.
What's this guy do? Once you've equipped an ally, create a Shadow Fiend. Okay. Not blocking. There's never blocking here. So let's get down the Tusk Speaker. We'll have some options next turn. I'm pretty sure that we want to just be, like, not opening, right? It feels like his blockers aren't going to be particularly good. And so we'll see what we draw in terms of units. Probably playing the Hookmaster Inner Beast. Let's say Omen Hawk isn't the most ideal of friends to come in, but
Yep, 10 times running.
it is a 2/2 here. Let's see how opponent spends their mana. We probably don't need to Inner Beast this turn. Right, if he plays a Yasuo, then we're kind of forced into it. But if he's just adding smaller units to the board, then we do get a good attack out of the Omen Hawk. And we're going to hit with everybody. If he wants to take a value block on the Omen Hawk to just get nugged in the face, I'm completely okay with that. It's playing more into our strategy than it is into theirs. And a Noxan Fervor. Ugh. This is the critical turn, right? I'm envisioning, like, if we just take the 6 from Zed, let him flip, put the Pan of Pain onto the rear guard, and open next turn. He blocks the rear guard. He only takes 3. So we have to put the Pan onto the Tusk Speaker. This would be 3 from the rear guard, 2 from the Tusk Speaker. Ugh. Ugh. This is so bad. If he has like I think we let the combat happen. And then we try to hit him. Well, that wasn't ideal. I was going to let the combat happen, and then my concern was that if we play the Noxan Fervor before combat, then he's going to get the opportunity to play the combat tricks to protect his Zed. But I think we're just kind of stuck here now. Oh, the Ancient Yeti. Fucking expensive. Alright, well, let's see where this gets us. We have some surprise damage in our hand. I think he's probably has to block with Zed. But we do have this this Inner Beast for a damage, the Noxan Fervor to deal 3. So we might be able to punch in a little bit here. He played a Tellstones. I'm curious if he's going to go for the recall. Oh, that was a Noxan Tellstones and not a... Alright. I was going to say it's a Noxan Tellstones and not a Ionian. I'm just so used to it always being Ionian. Alright. Well, at least the Zed is done. I'm not certain on that previous turn. That was odd.
Follow the wind, but watch your back.
Alright, he doesn't want to battle our Yeti. This tasty Feyfolk is, of course, quite worrisome here. Oh no, are you serious?
Or does it follow?
Oh, fuck. I was not anticipating Yone. Alright, let's give it a turn. Got a Dragon's Protection and one more card. Do like finding Three Sisters. Ideally, we would save the Three Sisters for next turn so that we could so that we could like entomb whatever is in front of a blocker, right? So if he wants to put his Yone in front of the Ancient Yeti, then we get to entomb it away and come in for the full damage, right? That's the main reason you play a card like Decisive Maneuvers, is it gives you that that opportunity. It's like we might have to bring it in a little bit early though.
Follow only one path, my own.
So if he attacks with everybody, we can just block Yasuo and Yone, and then try and get these kills in next turn with the Ancient Yeti. I think I'm okay with this. So let's bring in the Pan. Like even if he goes up the up to 10, we should still be able to reload the weapon onto the Yeti, and then entomb away the Feyfolk if it blocks. Okay. We might have just messed that up, not throwing away the Ruthless Raider, but I think it's fine. This is going to come down to whatever this last card in his hand is. Ooh, a Nox and Fervor. Perfect.
What are you?
Stand firm. Your end is my duty.
All right, so we're net even on this Ruthless Raider block. Let's start with the Three Sisters. See where that gets us. Bring in the Entomb. And neg 8 into 6 now. This doesn't strike me as a deck that's going to be playing Deny, but you know, in a world where we have to worry about like Deny, or if we have to worry about, okay, we're still lethal. We have to worry about, you know, stuns or whatever. It's like a little dangerous not, you know, hitting in for the flash freeze, but or hitting in with the fast spell. I think that was okay. I mean, would the like ultimate safe thing to do there would have been to flash freeze the Feyfolk, so that it, you know, you can't deny it there. But interesting. I'm not entirely thrilled with how we played that game, but it was good enough to get us there in the end. Okay, so what do we got now? We got Zed Vayne, Varus Pantheon, and Seraphine. Much more along the lines of the lineup I would expect to see. And we're going to come out and ban out this Seraphine. There's no desire to play against it whatsoever. Let's see what we can do. These are all like winnable matches. You know, I fully and willingly concede that you should be playing both Vayne and Seraphine in any best of 3 lineup right now. But you know, if you take a look at the cards in the Seraphine decks and the Vayne decks, none of them have Legion Rearguard in it, and so that's the real kicker. That's the real problem there.
I'll shoot the wings off a bilge wasp.
All right, bird coming in. Now I'm curious what their 2-drop situation looks like right now. If we're able to safely play the Boom Crew Rookie, like if we play the Rookie and it just bounces off the opposing unit, this is pretty disaster mode. But if we can get in 2 attacks with the Rookie, that's where we're able to really, you know, take advantage of this game. We trade the Rookie for a Sharp Sight, that's okay as well. But you know, it was just like horrible if we play, you know, the Rookie and he plays any 3/2. Now we're in a much safer spot to where we can get the Tusk Speaker going next turn.
I am the blade in the darkness.
All right, we'll take the shutdown onto Zed. Just keep him from attacking. That would be, you know, little problem. Not big problem, just little problem. Okay. Just a trade, interesting. I mean, I guess If he had a sharp sight, he probably would have played it last turn. This deck does play, you know, a heap of combat tricks. And so... I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen any of them yet. Alright, Hookmaster coming at us. I think we still just have to send in the Boom Crew here. We'll see what he does with his other units. I'd say it's surprising not just lining Zed up with the Boom Crew rookie.
Do not disappoint me.
Okay, so this 3 damage into Zed is essentially like sending 3 damage to the face, right? Since we're directing this forward in front of an Overwhelm unit. Now we get to take the Zed off of the board. Not bad. Need to come up with 3 damage here, and we have a fair amount of time. Right, with that Zed gone, these big rally attacks aren't that scary.
Suffering is the beating heart of drama.
Here, fishy fishy.
Explosive pride.
Okay, no real interest in blocking a quick attacker. It's like if we attack with Jhin, and then he's able to like play a combat trick and, you know, trade. It's a lot better if he has to say lose his unit while he's at it, right? If he has a +1/+1 on the Fnatic, we block the quick attack, we lose our Jhin. Here we at least get the trade. Interesting.
Demons walk among us, masquerading as men.
All right, so let's deal a damage to this thing. The thing that I'm ultimately worried about, I don't know if you caught it, but he has that that ephemeral unit in hand, and I didn't really want to risk that dum-dum coming down onto the board. So we now have a little bit more defense here with the stage hand, some of its shutdowns. And we just need to get the one more trap to win with the Lotus Trap Decimate. Alright, let's try and kill this thing.
The audience loved you.
Interesting. Just spent a ton of mana on that without being able to do anything.
Come out, wherever you are.
Okay, Tumble only takes us down to 4. It's completely fine.
I will give them a show to remember.
Incoming Decimate.
If we seek forgiveness, we must commit all.
And you get him with the traps. Good job, Jhin. Very well done. Okay. Annie Jhin pulling up the victories when it matters. Let's see if we can't manage to squeak out a victory with Darius Gnar here. And so that game can show you like a little bit why I've just been trying to ban out these rando Demacia decks. I'd of course rather just be banning out the Shadow Isles decks, but you know, if we're trying to attack with these 3 power units and opponents playing Veins and Gerals and all that, it's fairly tough for us to you know, actually attack in and deal that damage when we need to.
Need a second.
But I remembered to emote. I think we're good. I think we're good to get started with this one. So many rear guards. Yeah, that's what life's all about. That's what it's all about. Oh man, does opponent not have units into our 9 damage attack? Uh-oh. That feels good. You know the trick with tumble is you can't play tumble if you're dead. It's just a little bit of knowledge for you all out there that aren't familiar with the intricacies of tumble. You can't play it if you're dead. So it's tough. It's tough. I think we want to just keep adding units here. Like, his draw's been so weird. Like, there's a reasonable chance to think that we get to add 2 units this turn and he doesn't get to add any. Ooh, Tasty Faithful. Not what I was expecting. We have to stop now with this Nox and Fervor, but... yeah, what an actual disaster of a card to see come down. Tasty Faithful. Yeah, spend your... oof. Oof. Uh-oh, friend. That's how you emote right there. All right, GG. And so we managed to take victory. We grasped victory from the depths. 1-in with our Legion Rearguard lineup. I'm proud of it. I felt good with it. I hope you did too. And so, you know, that's always a winning strategy, always a winning lineup. The opportunity to just, go in there and be aggro. We like to really preach the idea that I know that there's a lot of big-brained folks out there that think that control decks are the be-all, end-all challenge of any game, and I like to describe it as something I call decision weight, right? As to where you're playing your darkness deck. You know, it's on turn 1. There's not a whole lot of difference between playing go hard on a unit and playing quietus on a unit. If you pick the wrong one, there is of course the wrong one, but at the end of the day, you tend to grind out and play so many cards. It's not that big of a decision. But when you're coming out here with these aggro decks, it is. It'll make or break it in terms of if you play the wrong card at the wrong time. You're not making the sheer number of decisions right, and you of course get a lot of these games to where you just curve out ridiculously like we did there, and it's just kind of not a lot of effort into it. But the decision weight in a lot of these aggro decks is just super, super, super high, as to where you have one critical decision to make, and if you make it right, you win the game, and if you make it wrong, you lose the game. And it's just so much less forgiving to make those decisions that I feel like the Legion rearguards don't get a lot of respect, because you do have a lot of games like that last one, right, where we curved out all of our mana in the early game, and then opponent stumbled a little bit, and we just got the free win. But you have to keep that in mind. And so I want to give the Legion rearguard a little bit of credit in our highlight video here, in that it's not always so easy for him. And maybe you should stop and give a little respect to the aggro guy. Give a little respect to us, right? That's the way we prefer to do it. And so that was good. That was fun. If you want to take a lineup like this into the Gauntlet, more power to you. We just showed you that it's powerful enough. If you want to grind the ladder with the aggro decks, it's always a great choice as well. And so you get my full seal of approval for any of the decks in our lineup here today. But nonetheless, we are finished. That is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.